2, 3, 4, boom. Down here to get away. Hustle, the city just wasn't made. Found a town that ain't worth noting. Skies and roads are wide open. It feels like I'm getting back to my roots. Switched out my sneakers for a pair of boots. Just gotta find community. I know there's more out here.
Hello, welcome to Way Out Here birthday edition. Hey!
Happy birthday!
It's my birthday month / coming up next week. And I forced my friends to come be on an episode with me, just shooting the shit and drinking and asking each other random questions.
Yay.
Welcome. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Hi.
Cheers.
Woo woo. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And for the usual, we only have one mic. Thank you, Zencaster. Please make it possible to record multiple tracks in one room with one computer. Thank you.
Yummy.
Oh my god, that's fucking delicious. Tell us about the drink.
This is called Canchanchara. It is a Cuban classic cocktail made with rum and honey and fresh limes. And I discovered it on a little trip I had recently. And it's delicious.
A trip where?
To Cuba.
Plot twist.
Oh! Yeah.
So I'm going to ask a few questions since this is the small town podcast. I'm going to ask a few questions about small town life. And then we're going to just use the card deck and ask each other some random questions till we're bored.
Yay.
Happy birthday to me. Thank you for doing this, my forced friends. Oh, by the way, I just saw Avril Lavigne. That's my tea of the week. So exciting. Best show ever. It was in Providence, Rhode Island. And you know what? She sounds just as good as she always has. She sounded amazing. It was badass.
I think she's at her peak.
She's at her peak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wearing my Fletcher is a crazy bitch hat. Don't worry. She created this hat. And I feel like it's a callback to Avril Lavigne's What the Hell song. You know that I'm a crazy bitch. I do what I want when I feel like it. Okay. It's my birthday. I can do whatever I want. Okay, so they're both from New York City. So they're living in New York City right now, which is quite a different life than the small town life that I'm living. But sometimes they like to get out of the city and visit the woods, and that's why they're here, and it's fun. So I just want to know, as big city folk, do you like small towns? What is your perspective of them? Bad question.
No, it's a great question. Something that I love about New York City is it sort of feels like a collection of small towns. Yeah, so in your own little neighborhood, it sort of gets to be like we're all creatures of habit and we all go to the same bodega, we go to the same grocery store. We get sort of stuck in the rut of our own little pocket of civilization, right? And so in that sort of sense, in certain parts, I don't know, I feel like the Upper West Side sort of feels like a small town sometimes.
Totally.
But then you go down to, you always run into the same people.
Mhm.
And it's a huge city. But the neighborhoods, everyone just sort of runs into each other, which is why I love it so much, is because there's a more human element to it that I think that small towns have this appeal of familiarity. And as far as getting away to the small town, it's such a godsend because the noise pollution and the light pollution and the actual pollution is so not happening out here, way out here.
This man and I FaceTime every day, and there are always sirens in the background. I'm like, oh, the sounds of New York. So what do you think about people who move to small towns? And would you ever date someone in a small town?
I would date someone in a small town if I could get there within an hour and a half, perhaps. That's my personal preference. And just because I don't drive. I love small towns, though. I could see myself maybe living in a small town one day, but I love the convenience of a city, too. So,
It's hard enough to get to Brooklyn, right? So-
yes. Yeah, but honestly, it
But
takes
it's an hour to
yeah,
get there.
genuinely, a lot of people in New York commute over an hour to get to work.
It's true.
So it's almost sometimes a shorter commute if you live in a town.
Yeah, that is one of our challenges living in a small town is dating and finding people who are willing to date. If they're not around you, then you're looking for people in the city. And a lot of the time they're just I'm not going out there.
It's funny because within New York, you're trying to date people and it says someone's 2 miles away. But in New York geography, that's a long ways away to date someone.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to get there, but in a smaller town, you just hop in your car and it's a 10-minute drive away. But 2 miles in the city is 45 minutes?
Yeah, if I set my dating to a 5-mile radius, all of a sudden I'm in a different state.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
Sometimes on my dating radar, it'll be like, oh, this person's only 2 miles away, except for they're across the river in New Jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to take all these modes of transportation to get there. And it's just absurd. And you're like, damn it, he's so hot. But he's in New Jersey. I've got to like budget the time. Like takes like maybe like an hour or two round trip, 2 hours. And if like you're coming back to like late at night, then you don't know if there's going to be trains or buses running or not.
Yeah, I live like 10 miles from the highway. So I'm definitely looking for people in a much wider range than that. And it's usually Boston or Maine or Vermont. All over. I will drive an hour and a half for love. I'll drive 4 hours for love.
For love?
Yes,
Yeah.
for love.
For love.
Maybe, yeah.
But not for casual
But for a
dating.
first date, yeah.
Not for a first date. Yeah. Okay, should we do some questions?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you think we should talk about small town life? Or like maybe I could ask, what do you think about my place and like life out here, and why do you think I moved here and all that?
Like, I mean, it's like a sanctuary, right? It's like, it's so serene out here. And sometimes you just need to take a break from the hustle and the bustle and just go someplace where you can't be bothered by anyone. Even if you can be bothered by someone, they really can't do anything about it because you're in the middle of nowhere. And it's glorious.
I basically moved here so that I would never hear a neighbor again. And that has mostly been true. I have a lot of noise sensitivity. And even though I love city life, and as you know, I visit a lot, I just like prefer to live somewhere quiet.
I'm the noisy neighbor because I'm an opera singer. And so like, I'm like,
Oh my God, it's
I'm
true.
oftentimes practicing, and I have to be conscious of my neighbors and the hours of the day. And if I lived in the middle of nowhere, I could practice whenever I want to, which is usually when I want to practice is late at night. But when I have to practice is during the middle of the day or afternoon. And that's fine, just not when I'm feeling most creatively inspired. And so in that case, sometimes I wish I lived in a place like this where I had enough space between me and neighbors where I could just scream as much as I want and no one would know. Maybe they would know. I don't know. I'm loud.
I thought you were going to say you're the loud neighbor because of sex, which is also true.
You can ask my roommate about that. But cheers. Yeah.
I was gonna say that I wish I could like frolic in a field, and the closest thing to that is like Central Park, and then there's other people there that make me feel weird about it sometimes. So I wish I could be here sometimes.
Oh my God. Do you want to talk about seeing Elliot Page? And I have matching tattoos that are, oh, it's on this side. They're the friend tattoo that Mae Martin and Elliot Page got, and we just were obsessed with it, and it's awesome.
Here's the thing. In New York City, there are celebrities everywhere. It's just because the thing is, celebrities are people too. And they have homes and they have dogs that poop and they live in neighborhoods. But the thing about New York City is like, generally speaking, if you're a New Yorker, you're not bothering your neighbors. You're saying, oh, hey, I think I've seen that person somewhere before. On TV, maybe. But also, like, mind your business.
And we did mind our business. I was not there, but
Yes. Okay. I was at the dog park. I saw what looked like Elliot Page wearing sunglasses sitting at a at a bench across from me. I can't confirm or deny, but I did text a picture to Laurel because and it was definitely Elliot Page and same dog on Instagram, Elliot Page's dog.
Yeah.
Delete that part. Okay.
I didn't know that part. The best part of the story, though, is that we have Elliot Page's tattoo. So it would have been a great opportunity to be like, ta-da! And actually, I met Mae Martin at a comedy show in San Francisco in the lobby. Mae, if you remember me, I actually told Mae about my tattoo. And I was like, no, we had him. And I was like TMI. I was like, because I used to be Mormon and we didn't get to drink coffee. And now I get to drink coffee. And oh, I should probably let somebody else take a picture with you. It's very exciting that we have the same tattoos as Mae Martin and Elliot Page. And we saw both of them. I mean, cool.
Pretty cool. And it was within like a few months.
It was within a few months. Yeah.
Oh, like you both saw them, but in like you
Yeah,
saw Mae Martin.
Yeah, and I saw
Yeah.
You saw Elliot Page.
Right. I mean, that's
That's
like
pretty cool.
kind of magic. It
Yeah.
feels like what do they call it? Fate.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to
you
ask
are.
questions and you
Right.
can say skip and we'll cut it out. What is your favorite queer themed book or movie? Why?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Sense8. Sense8. I watched that during like the beginning of the pandemic, which was like when I was like I'd freshly come out and I was like experiencing all these things, and there were so many relatable characters, and I was just locked in my apartment crying because I was just like, oh, I get it, he gets me, or whatever. That's me right there in that show. Yeah. It's a very queer coded show with like all the representation for everybody.
Would you rather live in a house, an apartment, or a bus? If you had all the
If I had
options.
every possible thing and what thing I could need, I'd probably want to live in a house because there's just more things you can do in a house. Like it's cool to be able to have a pool. Like I want to have a trampoline.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know that's like yeah.
Yes.
I want to like maybe have
Very
chickens
you.
or something. Yeah.
Oh,
Chickens?
chickens. My neighbors just got ducks and they're really cute.
Yeah, so it just gives you more options to do think like outdoors things and stuff.
So even like if you had to choose between a house in a rural area or an apartment in a city.
Right now apartment because the transportation and stuff and the like community stuff. But if things were easier, which I hope they become easier with like public transportation and train lines and stuff, like I could see a lot more people moving out to the country. And maybe me. Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe you.
yeah.
You know what?
I agree.
I just think everyone who owns a garden of some sort should have bees.
Yep. Well, gardens automatically help that, but we are planting a wildflower blueberry pollinator field out here. Ooh, ooh.
Come visit the garden. How do you know you're ready to commit to someone? Oh. The thing is, like, my dating experience has been I thought I was ready to commit to someone, but it turns out that they weren't. And so I feel sort of gaslighted in my own sensation of what it means to feel like I'm ready to commit to someone. It makes me wonder, like, what sort of situations make me like I like doubt my own perception of what that would look like.
Is it more like, because if you're ready and they're not ready, that's just like bad timing. You think they're ready and they weren't. So now you are like, how can I tell when someone else is ready?
Like,
Wait,
sort
what
of.
was the
It's
question?
yeah. No. How do you know if you're ready for like to commit to a relationship? Right? Is that that's the question?
Because if you are, but they're not, then that's not on you. That's like on them. You know?
I suppose so. But also when you're dealing with like certain types of people, you sort of like start to doubt your own intuition or your own self or like your own where you feel like you're at because it sort of makes you insecure in how you're feeling.
This is intentionally a really hard question meant to make people think because like it's hard. Like I don't know that I have a perfect answer to this either. Like how do you know you're ready to commit to somebody? I think there's like a level of commitment that it's like you have to have a certain level of commitment to explore the next stage. And so like for me, if I'm willing to give something a shot, then I'm like, yeah, I would commit to you. Like it doesn't mean we're gonna get married, but like if we can commit and like know that this is my person for now and that we're trying this out, then like that to me is a commitment. But it's not like the ultimate commitment. It's just trying the next step, you know? So I guess there's levels of commitment. So you can have a commitment to date, you can have a commitment to move in, you can have a commitment to marry. I just thought of that.
I like it.
Yeah. And I sort of wonder if maybe I'm like sort of like the go big or go home kind of guy where I'm just like, if it's not going to be long term, then get the fuck out of here.
Well, I mean,
You know?
yeah, no, I get that. I'm not really somebody who plans on short-term dating. It's just like it's what happens
Right.
most of the time, but it's like usually I'm always hoping for like the longer term. And that's not true for everyone, but that's my situation.
That's where I'm arriving to, and it hasn't been that for a little while.
You're doing great, Sam.
I'm yeah, we're doing real good.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your thoughts on and experiences with jealousy?
I don't try, but it happens. I feel like it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
At least. But I don't try to actively make myself jealous. It mostly is usually about my own insecurities anyways.
But also, I think it's good to have a little bit of jealousy.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. It's like it's right. Exactly. If you don't care, you don't care. But if there's a little bit of jealousy going on, it's kind of hot because you're like, oh yeah, you want me, or you get a little jealous. It's kind of nice to feel that from time to time. You're like, wait a minute, I've got these feelings for that's mine. But also like not mine because we don't own other people. But also like there's it's just nice to like I've been coming to terms with my own like it's okay to be a little bit jealous.
If you don't care enough to be jealous a little bit, then you might not care as much about the person as you think. Like when I dated men, I was never jealous. When I did polyamory, I was more jealous that he got to be with the girls. Oops. Don't tell.
Don't tell.
I tell he'll ever find this, but my ex-boyfriend and I text, friendly texts, whatever. He's like such a straight man. So he was like, oh, can I come visit sometime if I ever buy a house in Europe? And I was like, well, I don't know if straight men are invited. And he was like, well, if I ever got a chance to make out with you again. And I was like, that's gross, bro. I'm gay. It's not appropriate. No, he was never Mormon. I know this guy, so like it doesn't bother me. Like he just has no filter. He just is who he is, and he's always gonna say shit like that. But I'm like, you're just being such a frat boy.
It's kind of funny, but then you remember he's in his 30s.
Well, he's 40 now.
Okay.
But it's kind of funny until you remember that like that is one of the reasons it was hard for me to come out is like men who wouldn't believe me, who are just like, oh, but you're not really like
he's
but
being
you're actually bi,
serious.
right? Like, but he would not pass up an opportunity to make out with me. So he's like joking, but then he's like, but if it happened.
He's joking, but he's not.
We all know, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this one. These are meant to be, dating questions. Okay, how would the world change if females became the dominant sex?
You know, I think about this a lot actually. And I think it'd be really wonderful. Because listen, when we're like growing up and we're going to like public school or most educational institutions, most of the time your teachers are women, right? And like we're taught to care by these beautiful teachers. We're taught to like give a fuck about our classmates and like behave well and everything. And but at the same time we feel cared for even though we're being reprimanded. It's not often it's not often like in my educational experience when I've had a female teacher, which a teacher is like a position of leadership, right? Because they're imparting on you wisdom and knowledge and they're basically in charge of your life for the time that you're in their charge. And I really think that if women were in charge, the world would be more empathetic, more educated, and just more cared for.
Okay.
Just to say that.
No, but I was going to ask, do you think women are teachers because of gender roles? Have you ever watched The Power or read it? Did you read The Power? It is actually a book that goes into this. And the TV show's really good. But basically women develop the ability to shock with touch. And so they become the dominant sex. It's like something that gets developed during menstruation, basically. And there are NBs and trans boys in this as well. Yeah, I know, because I'm obsessed with it. Anyone who goes through menstruation gets it. That's when it happens. But like, it's interesting because there are some women who become really aggressive to get ahead and all these things. And so it's like, oh, is it always about power? And it has nothing to do with sex or gender. It's just that power can corrupt. It doesn't always. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thought.
Not all men are corrupt and not all women are incorruptible. So like we're all human, but I would say as a general rule with my experience or maybe it's social conditioning, I don't know. But I would say that like I don't know, I would say the world would be generally a more compassionate, better place. And you know what? You know about bonobos?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, the monk the Okay, so
They have a lot of sex.
Rubbing each
Yeah.
clits.
well,
Yeah.
something
Pretty
like
sure.
basically bonobos they're apes, right? And they're the most closely related ape species to humans. And it's not chimpanzees. Chimpanzees are the next closest after bonobos, but they're like more patriarchally dominated and bonobos are more matriarchally dominated.
Okay.
And I don't know too much about it. Essentially, bonobos are just a generally more peaceful species of apes.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on air, but I also believe they're the species that resolve conflict by rubbing each other's CLITS. Because, like, getting your rocks off kind of limits aggression a little bit.
They're more females and they selectively choose the more I guess docile males to breed with because they're like aggression is not something that we want to like perpetuate in our offspring.
Wow, if only humans. That is like the opposite of what happens. Okay.
But okay, hold up. I will say though, sometimes we do like an aggressive man.
Gentlemen, he's single.
For now.
Ish.
Yes.
In some ways. Okay, that's going to be it for our little special edition birthday episode. Woo! We're queer.
We're way out here.
2, 3, 4, boom, down here to get away. Hustle, the city just wasn't made. Found a town that ain't worth noting. Skies and roads are wide open. Feels like I'm getting back to my roots. Switched out my sneakers for a pair of boots. Just gotta find community. I know there's more out here like me, cause we're here. Oh, I know we're here. Oh yeah, we're queer and way out here. Sometimes being out here really testing my patience. Ran out of swipes, had to spam my location. 500 miles ain't really that far. You know, maybe I'll fix my car. Hills and mountains and trees and stars. Beautiful, but it ain't no gay bar. So many queers across this nation. I hear everyone